Hey Team Open, welcome to video number 3 from our replacement videos for workshop number 2 of the spring 2017 semester. So this one is going to be about finding open educational resources. So that is open material that has a Creative Commons license on it. And before I get to this page that we're on, I am going to do a search on Google to show you in a perfect way to find Creative Commons licensed material. I do want to point out that unlike the library material, unlike fair use, unlike free but not open on the web, where we are not authorized to make copies or changes or anything else, so we can only adopt those materials, we can only use them as is. With Creative Commons licensed material, you have choices. So depending on the license, as we discussed in the first workshop, depending on the license that's on them, you might not only be able to adopt them for your course, you might be able to adapt them. So if they have a CC BY NC or SA, as long as it's not an ND for no derivatives, you can actually take a copy of that material and make changes. So if you find a copy of a chapter of a textbook and you want to edit that chapter, you can do that. As long as it doesn't say ND for no derivative. If there's any other material that you find, you can chop it up, you can mash it up, you can do all sorts of things. So this is why folks are so excited about anything that has a CC license on it, because, well, a CC license that does not include ND, because it means you can do lots of fun things with it, and make it really work for you and your students, because sometimes when we find things are not quite or not exactly right, and there's something that we would like to do, we'd like to add material, take material out, or something like that. So the CC license can be really, really helpful. So there are going to be a couple ways to find this. There's no ideal way and there's no perfect way. It's still a sort of wild west in open educational resources and pretty messy. So I'm going to show you these two spaces that you can go to, one on the library's website and also through Google. The Google search is really, really not perfect. And I'll show you why. I'm going to look for plagiarism again. Let's keep our theme. When you do a search, look for a gear. I think it's different in different browsers, a gear or a tools, actually, sorry, the settings. What you're looking for is advanced search in the Google search option. So again, I think in some search engines it might be over on the right, but once you go to advanced search, you can limit in some really helpful ways. And one of the ways you can is with filtered license down below. Just in case you weren't aware, you can also limit by file type. So often limiting to a PDF can be really helpful. You can also limit to site or domain. So you could search gov. Not that that'll get all government sites, but it will get a lot. You could search edu, you could search org. So there are some other nifty ways to limit here as well. But the one we're looking for is the filtered by license, so free to use or share. So these are all basically Creative Commons license. So this is a CC BY, this is also a CC BY, and this is, and these are ND as well for no derivative, because here are the ones you can modify. And obviously NC for the ones that don't say even commercially. So you've got some different options there. So let's search for ones that are CC BY and we can do what we like with. I'm actually not convinced that this is CC BY because I'm pretty sure that's from the Oxford Dictionary, but Wikipedia information certainly is. And I'm going to try this one from UNC Chapel Hill to have a quick look at what's on the page. So this one looks good, and there is the CC BY down the bottom. So that applies and it tells you which license it is. It's a no derivative, so you can use this as is. You can take that PDF and distribute it to your students. So that's a great example where it worked. The page is actually CC BY at that point. Sometimes you will get to a site and it will not, the page won't be CC BY, but just one image on the page will be. And this only has an image, and it is CC BY and CSA. So it is Creative Commons license. So I may not be able to find an example of this, but again, sometimes when you're on a page, it will only be an image that they're using that's CC BY, and it won't be the entire page. So, or I should say, I keep saying CC BY, but it should just be Creative Commons license, because it may not be just BY. It could be non-commercial share, like a lot of these are. So again, do be careful and make sure if you're wanting to use the text that is a Creative Commons licensed, that it is Creative Commons licensed, and it's not just referring to one item on the page. So again, using advanced search in Google to search, absolutely. Just look closely at what you're looking at to make sure the portion that you would like to use, if it's the text, is Creative Commons license and it's not some other item. But I do want to take you to the library's site for open educational resources, where we've gathered links for places where you can go, where there are repositories of open educational resources. And this is open access, open education, and more. The open movements are related. Open access has to do with scholarly communication. If you're interested in publishing your own scholarship, open access, there's information here about that. If you've heard about predatory publishing, there are companies out there that are trying to get folks to publish with them, and they say they do peer review and they don't. If you ever have any questions about that, I'd be happy to answer them, but it does give you a little background on that. If you would like to retain your copyright, we have information about how you can do that. When you're looking at a publishing contract and it says you have to sign away all your rights, you do have some options to negotiate, so that is covered here. But what we're looking for today are the open educational resources. And so we are building out specific department discipline areas, and please do feel free to check these. I'm going to spend the time on Find OER to use here. These are a work in progress. One of the reasons we're actually having you submit course maps is so that we can start filling these out more and sharing information. So they're a little bit sparse, but you may find a resource or two there that's helpful for you if any of your disciplines are listed here. But we're going to just quickly look at Find OER to use. If you're interested in what's happening at CUNY, that's the top box. We're going to scroll down to some of the other boxes. And again, your second assignment, oh, you have a third one, but that's going to be in the email. The second assignment, after looking for library options, is to actually find some options within these resources on this page that you might use in your class. So when you come back to the third workshop, we are going to say, so what did you find while you were between the two workshops? Just an example or two. It doesn't have to be, it shouldn't be a lot. We're just looking for an example of two of what you may have found going into these. So the repositories have a variety of information. They might be assignments, assessments, could be whole textbooks, could be websites that they're linking to. And many of our faculty have had success in Merlot. It's one of the biggest, longest serving ones. It was put together by the California university system. And again, it's one of the oldest and one of the biggest. OER Commons is also fairly large as well. So if you're looking for a variety of material, you could certainly look here. And if you're specifically looking for textbooks, these are going to be some links that will get you there. And we would like you, even if you're thinking, I don't think I want a textbook. We're not thinking you'll replace a textbook with a textbook, but sometimes there's foundational material in textbooks that can be helpful. So even just a chapter, maybe there's one chapter that sort of gives the terminology or the basic concepts for your course or something like that. So even if you weren't planning on using an open textbook, if you please could just dip your toes in here and see what's available for you. OpenStax is probably the biggest one right here. OpenSUNY also has many. So again, if you could have a look at least at OpenStax and OpenSUNY and maybe poke into some of the others to see what might be there. Again, not expecting you to use an entire textbook, but there may be portions of a textbook. Because remember, if these are Creative Commons license, you don't even have to take out a whole chapter. You could take out 2 pages in the chapter and use that if you wanted to. And you could excerpt that. You don't have to deliver the whole chapter to students. Further down, open courses, we also would like you to Spend a little bit of time looking at these, especially Lumen Learning, who we're working with on one of our Open Educational Resources grants. But any of these would be interesting. And the thing about open courses is often they have the text, but they also have quizzes and other curricula, whether it's assignments or other things. So again, we're not expecting that you're going to adopt an entire course, but there may be portions or material within that course that would be useful for you. So we would like you to dip your toes into that, knowing that you're not going to take the entire course, but you may find some material in there that's useful. And feel free to look at any of these. In particular, Open Learning Initiative by Carnegie Mellon and Lumen are two that we're really interested in because we've had some, we are working with them in other ways, at least Lumen Learning, and we have had some interest in the Carnegie Mellon Open Learning Initiative. So do spend a little time there. And there are more video options down below and photos that we're not going to go into. So those are the places that we would like you to try. I have put a link, given you a direct link to this site in your email, but you can also see it up here. And again, your assignment is to find some stuff. And we look forward to seeing you back at the third workshop, barring any natural disasters. Good luck, everyone, and get in touch absolutely if you have any questions. Thanks so much.